This is the video for Cambridge IELTS 9 Test 2 Passage 1. This is for academic IELTS, so let's get started. Question 1. Read which section contains the following. So this is basically matching information, right? An account of a national policy initiative. Okay. The answer would be H. Okay, the paragraph H. An account of the national policy initiative. So H says the New Zealand government has developed a New Zealand disability strategy. All right, so that is a national policy initiative. So it's a national policy. Okay. 2. A description of a global team effort, which will be in C. Where is a description of a global team effort? Okay, so the international has established an international working party. Okay, so the team effort, they come together, and this is an global means international. All right, so this is an organization, a working party coming together from all over the world. 3. A hypothesis as to one reason behind the growth in classroom noise. That will be in B. One reason for the growth in classroom noise. Okay, so basically you have as to one reason now. Modern teaching practices, the organization of this. These are all the possibilities, okay, reasons, all the different reasons. For a demand for suitable worldwide regulations. A demand for suitable worldwide regulations, that will be in I. A number of countries are already in the process of formulating their own standards. So worldwide, a number of countries, regulations, standards, okay, for the control and reduction of classroom noise. Right, so let's see answer. Number 5, a list of medical conditions which place some children more at risk from noise than others. It will be in D. Where does it say? Medical conditions. So there should be a list of medical conditions. Okay. While the detrimental effects of noise in classroom situations are not limited to children experiencing disabilities, those with a disability that affects their processing of speech and verbal communication could be extremely vulnerable. So it affects everyone, but those with such disabilities, these which we're going to talk about, the auditory function deficits in question includes hearing impairment, autistic spectrum disorders, and attention deficit disorders. These are people with these conditions would be affected in greater way. Okay, so 5D and 6. The estimated proportion of children in New Zealand with auditory problems. So estimated proportion now. Oops. As I mentioned, you know that this is actually going to be an easy question with an easy answer because the estimated proportion is a percentage. So it's going to be a number, okay? And it's actually in A. 6 to 10% of children in the country are affected by hearing loss. All right, so let's go to the next question. Set. Next type of question. Short answer question, no more than 2 words, right? So that will be for question 7 to 10, right? So for short answer questions, basically it should be in order, right? Okay, let's see if it's in order. All right. Question 7. For what period of time has hearing loss in children been studied in New Zealand? For what period of time? Found research carried out over 2 decades. So the answer is 2 decades. Okay. Next question. In addition to machinery noise, what other type of noise can upset children with autism? What other type of noise can upset children with autism? Those experiencing these disorders often find sounds such as machinery. Okay, in addition to machinery noise, machinery noise generated by machinery, crowd noise. Okay, so the answer would be, in addition to machine noise, what other type of noise? So the answer will be crowd noise. The noise is optional, because what other type of noise? You can just say crowd, or you can say crowd noise. Okay, what term is used to describe the hearing problems of school children which have not been diagnosed? It's in G. It is probable that many undiagnosed children exist in the education system with invisible, okay, the term is invisible disabilities. All right, you can put disabilities, you can you can put disabilities, that is optional. All right. And number 10, what part of the New Zealand disability strategy aims to give children equal opportunity? What part of it? Okay, so you have the New Zealand disability strategy. Which part? Objective 3 of this policy, this strategy, blah, 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 by providing education so that all children, youth learners, and adult learners will have equal opportunities to learn and develop within their already existing school. So what part of this strategy aims to give school children equal opportunities? Objective 3. Okay, so yes, as you've seen, we went through these 4 questions, and the answers are in order. Okay, 11. Write the correct letters. Which 2 are mentioned by the writer in the passage? Okay, now this is question 11. So basically, the 2, this will give you two marks, A and C. Let's go to A, current teaching methods. Current teaching methods. Here, modern teaching practices. Okay, so that is it. Current, modern teaching practices, methods. Okay, and the next one is C, is cooling systems. Cooling systems. And that is mentioned also in the area. Mechanical means of ventilation such as air conditioning units. Okay, so sorry, that should be, well, let's put, because each one get 1 mark, 11. And then 13, choose the letter. What is the writer's overall purpose in writing this article? The overall purpose is C, to increase the awareness of the situation of children with. Okay, now there's no particular, I mean, there's no sentence that says that, okay, this is to increase the awareness, but basically you look at the options here, and then you look at the passage, what is the purpose, and basically the purpose is to increase the awareness of situation of children with auditory problems. Okay, let's continue with passage 2. Question 14. So the first type of question is matching information. The paragraph that gives examples of different ways in which the parallax principle has been applied. So this is not going to be in order. The answer would be in F. Examples of different ways. Okay, so oops. Let's go to the right passage first. F. All right, so the parallax principle can be extended to measure the distances to the stars. All right, knowing the width of the Earth's orbit, the parallax shift lets astronomers calculate the distance now. So examples of different ways in which the parallax principle has been applied. So this paragraph F contains that information. 15. A description of an event which prevented a transit observation. That will be D. A description of an event that prevented a transit observation. So here, fleeing on a French warship crossing the Indian Ocean, Le Gantel saw a wonderful transit, but the ship's pitching and rolling ruled out any attempt at making accurate observations. So it prevented a transit observation, right? That's information there. 16, the answer is G. A statement about the potential future discoveries leading on from transit observations. Let's go to G. But such transits have paved the way for what paved the way means it has led to for what might prove to be one of the most vital breakthroughs in the cosmos, detecting Earth-sized planets orbiting other stars. Okay, so that is a statement about the potential future discoveries leading on from. So these have led to possibly future discoveries. The discovery of detecting Earth-sized planets orbiting other stars. 17, the answer is E. A description of physical states connected with Venus which early astronomical instruments failed to overcome. A description of physical states connected with Venus. Okay, here's Venus. Which early astronomical instruments failed to overcome. So while the early transit timings were as precise as instruments would allow, the measurements were dogged by the black drop effect. So the measurements were dogged by the black drop effect. So this is basically a description of physical states connected with Venus which early astronomical instruments failed to overcome. All right, so 18, that'll be the next question. So this is matching features, and this is also not in order. He calculated the distance of the sun from the Earth based on observations of Venus with a fair degree of accuracy. The answer is D. Johann Franz Encke. Okay. And let's go to the passage where it mentions this. F. Johann Franz Encke. Determine. Okay, let's go back to this. The distance from the sun from the Earth, which is basically if you go to the front of the passage, what is the distance of the Earth from the Sun from the Earth? Okay, this is known as the astronomical unit, or AU. So determine a value for the AU, all right, reasonably accurate for the time. So as you can see, he calculated the distance of the Sun from the Earth based on observations from Venus with a fair degree of accuracy. All right, astronomers labor hard to analyze the results of these expeditions to observe Venus transits. Okay, so this guy, he determined the value, the AU value, which was quite reasonable. Okay, it says reasonably accurate for his time. Next, 19. He understood that the distance of the Sun from the Earth could be worked out by comparing observations of a transit. That would be A. The answer would be A, Edmund Halley. It's all here in B. Right? Through comparing observations of a transit, he managed to find the distance of the Sun from the Earth. Okay, so here again, he managed to find this by comparing observations of a transit. Okay, this whole paragraph is about that. 20. B, which is Johannes Kepler. He realized that the time taken by a planet to go around the Sun depends on its distance from the Sun. C, had shown the distance of the planets from the Sun govern their orbital speeds. Okay, so the time taken, the speed, depends on its distance of the planets from the Sun. All right, so Johannes Kepler. 21. He witnessed a Venus transit but was unable to make any calculations. Okay, he witnessed a Venus transit but was unable to make any calculations. That would be C. Guillaume Le Hentel. And it is found in this paragraph. Basically, we went through that already just now. We went through parts of it. Okay, this guy. Because why was he unable to make any calculations? Because he was thwarted by the fact that where is it? The ship's pitching and rolling. Okay, without any attempt to make accurate observations. All right. Okay. Next, what is the next kind of question? True, false, not given again. So we should expect true, false, not given to be in order. All right. Let's go to 22. Halley observed one transit of the planet Venus. Halley observed one transit of the planet Venus. Now, is that true? Is that false or not given? Let's go and have a look at the passage. Here talks about Halley observe a transit of the innermost planet Mercury. Venus? No, Mercury. Okay, so that's false. Next question. Le Hentel managed to observe a second Venus transit. Let's go to D. So here it talks about this guy. He saw a wonderful transit All right, but of course he could not make any accurate observations. Then after that, he remained south of the equator, keeping himself busy by studying the islands of Mauritius and Madagascar before setting off to observe the next. So he started to observe the next transit in Philippines. Ironically, after traveling nearly 50,000 kilometers, his view was clouded. So if his view was clouded, he managed to do so? No, that is false. He did not manage to do so, right? The shape of Venus appears distorted when it starts to pass in front of the sun. This answer is true. The shape of Venus appears distorted when it starts to pass in front. Okay, remember, if true, false not given, not yes, no not given, if the questions are in order, so we've already found out where the answers to 22 and 23 are. So, and 23, where is that? It's about in D here, all right? So probably if it's in order, 24 would be from here onwards, okay? And which is true, when Venus begins to cross the sun's disk, it looks smeared. When Venus exhibits a halo of light when it's seen just outside the sun's disk. So the point here is the shape, okay? It looks smeared, not circular. So which makes it difficult to establish timings. Now, so the shape of Venus appears distorted when it starts to pass in front of the sun. Okay, so 24 is true, and then 25 and 26, okay, if it's in order, again, we're just going to expect this to be probably F and G in the answers, okay? Of course, unless it's not given. Now, 25. Early astronomers suspected that the atmosphere on Venus was toxic. And pretty much it doesn't say anywhere. All right, you don't have to look all around the whole article, because if it's in order, we just have to look at F and G after the answer for 24. And we don't find anything about early astronomers suspected that the atmosphere on Venus was toxic. All right. Lastly, the parallax principle allows astronomers to work out how far away distant stars are from the Earth. Okay, and that is true. So again, it should be from here, right? If it's in order, it should be F or G. F, or in the answer should be in F or G. All right, and it's actually given here in F. The parallax principle can be extended to measure the distances to the stars. All right, from the Earth to the stars. So that is true. Okay. All right, to passage 3 right now. Let's go to question 27. Neuroeconomics is a field of study which seeks to multiple choice question. So the answer would be 27C. Understand how the brain is linked to achievement in competitive fields. So the neuroeconomics, which studies the brain's secret to success in an economic environment that demands innovation and being able to do things differently from competitors. Okay, so it's a field which seeks to understand how the brain is linked to achievement in competitive fields. Okay, so there's competition, and studies the brain, how the brain is linked to achievement. Okay. 28. The question, according to the writer, iconoclasts are distinctive because, that will be B, their brains function differently. Okay, but more precisely, iconoclasts are different from people. But more precisely, it is their brains that are different. Okay, So their brains function differently. 29, the answer would be D. According to the writer, the brain works efficiently because for example, when confronted with information streaming from the eyes, the brain will interpret this information in the quickest way possible. 29D, it relies on previous events. Thus, it will draw on both past experience, okay, and any other source of information. So, according to the writer, the brain works efficiently, very quickly. The brain will, the brain will interpret this information in the quickest way possible, efficiently, because it draws on past experience. Right, 30. C. The writer says that perception is a result of brain processes. Perception. We think our perceptions of the world are real, but they are only biological electrical rumblings. Okay, which means 30C, a result of brain processes. Perception is not simply a product of what your eyes or ears transmit to your brain. More than the physical reality of photons and sound waves, perception is a product of the brain. Okay, biological and electrical, the going-ons in the brain. Okay. 31. According to the writer, an iconoclastic thinker avoids cognitive traps. What do you mean by avoid cognitive traps? Perception. An iconoclast avoid cognitive traps. Okay. Perception is central to iconoclasm. Iconoclasts see things differently to other people. Their brains do not fall into efficiency pitfalls. An iconoclastic thinker avoids cognitive traps. Okay, traps. What is traps? Pitfalls. All right. Right. 32 to 37. Okay, as you can see again with 27 to 31, what happens is, if you have noticed, again, there's order to it. And then for this 32 to 37, there should be order again because this is a yes, no, not given, right? Exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. This answer would be yes. Let's go to the passage. Exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. Okay. The best way to see things differently to other people is to bombard the brain with things it has never encountered before. Novelty releases the perceptual process from the chains of past experience and forces the brain to make new judgments. Now, exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. Okay, so if you make sure that your brain is bombarded with things it has never encountered before, then they will think differently. Okay, so that's yes. 33. 33. Iconoclasts are usually receptive to new experiences. Iconoclasts are usually receptive to new experiences. Yes, again, just below that. successful iconoclasts have an extraordinary willingness to be exposed to what is fresh and different. Okay, so they are usually receptive. That means they're open to new experiences, exposed to what is fresh and different. 34. The question is, most people are too shy to try different things, and the answer is not given. Most people are too shy to try different things. Does it even talk about, does it even mention it there? Okay, it doesn't. Okay, in this whole passage it doesn't. Okay, if you number 35, if you think in an iconoclastic way, you can easily overcome fear. Okay, the answer is no here. Okay, easily is the limiting word you want to take note of. Okay, 35, and remember we are talking about the order. Okay, so just now our answers were from here, so probably, you know, it's around somewhere here. 35. The problem with novelty, however, is that it tends to trigger the brain's fear system. Fear is a major impediment to thinking like an iconoclast and stops the average person in its Alright, so the question is, if you think in an iconoclastic way, you can easily overcome fear. Now, the problem with this is that observation of iconoclasts show that embrace novelty. So they embrace new things, but the problem with novelty is that it tends to trigger the brain's fear system. So iconoclasts embrace new things, novelty, but novelty triggers fear. Alright, and fear is a major impediment to thinking like iconoclast. So the sentence, if you think in iconoclast you can easily overcome, no, there's still, you know, it will still trigger the brain's fear system. So that would be no. Okay, it's not, you can't easily overcome fear if you think in an iconoclastic way. 36, when concern about embarrassment matters less, other fears become irrelevant. When concern about embarrassment matters less, other fears become irrelevant. Okay, the answer to that is basically not given because it's not given. You can't find it in the passage at all. Okay. 37, fear of public speaking is a psychological illness. Answer to that is no. Fear of public speaking is a psychological illness. But fear of public speaking, which everyone must do from time to time, afflicts 1/3 of the population. This makes it too common to be considered a mental disorder. Psychological illness, mental disorder are the same thing. So it's too common to be considered. So psychological disorder, okay? Psychological illness. So that's no. Okay, 38. So we're going to 38 to 40. And this is a sentence completion. Right? 38 to 40. Okay. 38. Thinking like a successful iconoclast is demanding because... Now, what did I say about sentence completion? Sorry. This is... I would say this comes under... not sentence completion, but matching sentence endings. Normally, it's in order, okay? Let's go to that. Thinking like a successful iconoclast is demanding because it... Okay, let's go to... It's demanding. 38. The answer is demanding because A, it requires both perceptual and social intelligence skills. Understanding how perception and becomes entwined with social decision making, because you talk about social decision making here and perception, okay? shows why successful iconoclasts are so rare. So thinking like an iconoclast is demanding because it requires both. All right, not just one, but both. The concept of the social brain. The concept of the social brain is useful to iconoclasts because it focuses on how groups decide on an action. The concept of social brain is useful to iconoclasts. Okay, so let's go to that. Social brain is mentioned here. In the last decade, there has been an explosion of knowledge about the social brain and how the brain works when groups coordinate decision making, because it focuses on how groups decide on an action. Okay, social brain, how the brain works when groups coordinate decision making. Okay, so this social brain, the concept of social brain, is useful because it focuses on how groups decide on an action. Okay, decision making there. And lastly, 40C, iconoclasts are generally an asset because their way of thinking works in many fields, both artistic and scientific. Iconoclasts create new opportunities in every area, from artistic to technology to business. Okay, so the science comes here. So because their way works in many fields. All right. So so that is the end of Cambridge IELTS 9 Reading Test 2 for academic IELTS takers, passage 1, 2, 3. So some of these may be difficult. What I want you to remember as you do these passages, and I will give you more past year questions like this that you can do by yourself, and the answers are also provided, not in this video like how I go through the answers very much in detail, but I will give you other documents where you can practice. But what you need to take note of is you are not here to test yourself, you're here to learn. Testing and learning is very different. Testing is when you go through one of these tests and you spend only maybe time yourself 1 hour, because in your exam you will take 1 hour, and that's all you do, and then you look through your answers, you see your score, and that's all. Okay, now you're just testing yourself, you're not learning. What I mean by that is that you are putting yourself under exam conditions, which is good, because you do want to prepare for the exam, okay, but you're not going to learn much. You're just going to improve maybe in your speed, in your familiarity with the exam, okay, but you are not going to know new words. You're not going to understand how why you got wrong, what you got wrong, and why you did the question wrongly, etc. This is where learning comes in. Okay, don't just test yourself 1 hour, check your answers, and then go to the next one. You're not learning anything. So most likely the next test that you do, the practice test that you do, will be the same, or maybe a bit better, but pretty much the same. So what you want to do is go through these videos, and even for your future test that you're going to practice, once you've done your tests, don't just check your answers and go to the next test. Okay, spend some time, spend 1 hour, 2 hours in the paper, look through all the words, really try to understand why you got this wrong, why you got that wrong. Maybe there are new words that you didn't know, and you want to find out what it means. So take your time, spend more time than just 1 hour, because you're wanting to learn, not just test yourself. Okay, so spend a lot of time in reading. I know some of these reading passages may be difficult. Most of you are probably taking general training, so you don't have to you don't have to work on this academic IELTS questions, reading questions too much, but you will learn something. If you want to really challenge yourself, you can do it. If not, just stick to your general training IELTS. But in the third section, the questions will be like as difficult, well, maybe not as difficult, but long passages, similar questions. Okay, so it will be difficult. All right, so spend your time just doing a lot of practice, but don't just test yourself. Learn. Spend more time going through the passage, understanding what you got wrong, and looking through the answers. Never just mark yourself and say you have 10 wrong and say, okay, I'm going to do the next one. No, find out why you got the 10 wrong. Spend at least, I don't know, another half an hour to an hour at least going through the whole passage and finding the reason why this is the answer, why your previous answer was wrong, etc. Okay, then that's when you'll be learning and gaining confidence. Okay.